with Tom. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you, Tebs. Excited for a good day of football. Should be a good one today. Lots of players on the Wembley roster. Be interesting to see how many of those are going to make a big contribution in today's game. And Rushmoor have added a few faces from last week, down a couple of faces as well, notably their star running back from last week, Harvey Macy, not playing today. So lots of interesting things to look for on both sides of the ball, I think.
It's going to be an interesting one. We were talking earlier, I have definitely been on the receiving end of some losses when I've been the team that is the bigger squad compared to the smaller squad. Some interesting stats about these two. I think this game is going to be tight. Last year, Rushmoor allowed 25.2 points per game and only scored 22.7, whilst Wembley, on the other hand, allowed 11 points per game and on average scored 14.3. Tight is the name of the game here, or at least we think so. But people said that about last week when I was down for the Stampede versus the Apache. Obviously, we know how that turned out. The 2024 season kicked off fairly interestingly. A few upsets. If you watch the rundown on Mondays, we know that Oz did have to issue an apology to the Clyde Valley Blackhawks, or as much of an apology as Oz can manage. But it is a windy one today, so I'm going to expect a bit less of that passing game. If you're a fan of throwing the ball, then this might not be the game for you. But if you're a fan of running the ball, definitely the game for you.
It's worth noting for the viewers that the wind is going from left to right, so expect the wind to be against the Wembley offence and behind the Rushmoor offence as the first quarter kicks off.
So Micah, Oz and Hatch have consensusly picked this week for the Knights. Will it come back to bite them? We will have to see, and Wembley are going to be looking to be the next team to have a go at him on the rundown. So kicking off here with number 6 of Rushmoor. Boots it left. Received by number 19 of the Stallions. And just a very quick one to be taken out of bounds.
Yeah, and it's only the first play, but I think one thing that's worth watching based on last game is just the return game. Both teams last game in the Rushmoor Portsmouth game, both starting regularly from the 35 to the 50. We see there that Wembley start with the ball at the 34. If both offences are going to have that sort of field position all day, hopefully we'll get a lot of points on the board.
So Wembley ready to start their first drive of the 2024 season. Aaron Rush, the QB. He's looking. Oh no, it's not Aaron Rush. Sorry, and it's caught. Sorry, Ted Watts, number 2. Sorry, I thought it was a 7 just from the angle. Number 2, Ted Watts, the QB for the Stallions.
And
good throw. I
really like that start. Just a nice, easy throw. They've got themselves a good play to start off with. They've shown the Rushmoor defence that they're not just going to run the ball. They're going to have to be working in coverage early. Good, strong start.
Two receivers inside. Low snap. Ball is fumbled. It looks like that's a recovery for Rushmoor. Looks like the Wembley running back and the QB just couldn't get their hand to it. It's still a scrap for the ball. Low snap. Ball is fumbled. It looks like that's a recovery for Rushmoor. And there we go. And it's Rushmoor coming with pay dirt very early on.
And I think that's a really clear example that Rushmoor have played a game and Wembley haven't. That's their first drive of the season. That's generally where a lot of these mistakes are going to happen. To be honest though, just got to put that in the back of your mind. Hopefully for Wembley, they're hoping that they'll be able to make a stop here and give their offense a minute to get their feet back under them. But big opportunity for Rushmoor right here.
And John Paul Jones, their number 45, the man who held the ball up to the sideline. Got a lot of Wembley Stallions support in the chat. What do you think about that play? It's going to be a run play for the Knights first.
And that's a great start right there. They get the ball inside the opponent's territory. They run it up the middle. They put them out into trips, sort of see what look Wembley will come out in. It looks like they've probably got some nice matchups in that formation all day. if things continue as they do on that first play right there.
First play, first offensive drive, and a first down for Rushmoor, already cooking.
Yeah, these are big moments right here. If they can start to get some points on the board early, they can run away later.
Another run. This time charge up the middle, met by 3 or 4 Stallions, but it is going to be a good gain. Right in my eye line, so I look like a gain of 4, I'm going to say. I'll keep turning to you. Does that look like 4?
Yeah, I think the running back would like it on his stats if it's 4 rather than 3.
That's the classic sports hope commentary catchphrase. Is it 4? Is it 6? It's 2 runs here for Rushmoor. Pass now. Oh! And that broken up by Toby Alexis of the Stallions, number 11.
Yeah, I really like that play design. You saw that Wembley currently have 2 safeties deep, so you'd think that they might be able to get some help on those plays over the top, but where they're sort of showing it with an RPO or potentially a play action fake, it means they have to stay in the middle of the field a bit more and honour it, because they've got to come and crash on the run if the ball is handed off. So that's quite I like the way that Rushmoor are currently coming out and getting to the looks that they want.
So 3rd and 6 now for the Knights. And it's a run again. I love it when I get faked out. QB keeper. He's going to be a good chunk of yardage, but not. And it's a run again. For a first down, so just 2 yards shy of the first down.
Yeah, and I was speaking to some of the Rushmoor players last week, so we saw that play a lot. Normally with the zone read, you expect the quarterback to run opposite to which way the running back's flowing over the top of them, but he sort of just sees a gap and just pulls it and just goes himself. Not quite able to get all the yardage there, but 3 points would be a strong start for the Knights here, if they can get it.
Field goal now on. Looks like it was tipped, and it's going to be no good. And if you're the Wembley Stallions, you've got to be happy with that. The fumble went the way of Rushmoor in Wembley territory. Looks like it was for Rushmoor to walk away with no points. And if you're the Stallions, you've got to be happy with that. No good. And if you're the Wembley Stallions, those early mistakes.
Yeah, I think so. I think as a defence, you've got to feel that's a real win there. You know, you only allow them to get 1 first down. They walk away from the red zone with no points. Definitely some warning signs as well. They definitely need to think about what they saw on that limited set of plays and how they can maybe address some of the issues that came up. But definitely good momentum on Wembley side. Hopefully for them, they can pin together a few sets of downs here, at least get over the halfway line.
So here we go. Can the Stallions make good on their second offensive drive here today? It's a run from 33. Oh, and he's got some speed. And a great run and a first down and more for the Stallions. 33.
And I saw it during the warm-ups. I really like
what
Wembley seems to be trying to do on offense. They seem to use a lot of different formations, which can cause a lot of different conflicts for the Rushmoor defence. So I think that's something to make sure we stay on top of through the game, just trying to see how they keep deploying their receivers in different sets to move things around.
That was green, and another bad snap there from Wembley. That is going to take the efforts of number 33 Green
in different sets to move things around.
I would say slightly. Slightly is a bit of another bad snap there from Wembley. Looks like it's going to be a 2nd, and I'm going to say 22. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
So here we go now. Very stacked is the Wembley offense. They move the running back over to the left side. Perfect snap. Ball over the top, and there's a man on an island.
I don't know if you noticed on the previous play, but Lucy Peaty, the Rushmoor safety who starts for GB Women, she came off the field with what looked like potentially a hand or a wrist injury. And you see pretty much a play after Wembley are able to take a shot over the top. I think that Rushmoor look quite exposed in their secondary anyway, just based on the scheme they play. They present a lot of space. So if they're now down to second string safety, there could be lots of space over the top if Wembley can access it.
I believe that number 6 for Wembley, Lawrence Wild there, making that big catch from Ted Watts.
There could be lots of space over the top if Wembley can access it.
I believe that number 6 for Wembley, Lawrence Wild there, making that big catch from Ted Watts. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Sorry, as you were.
No, I'm really enjoying watching this Wembley offence to start. Let's see what more they've got in their bags. They're already pulling out a lot of different formations and going run, pass. This is a nice mix.
Here we go. Watts is looking out left. He's looking for 11. But very, very high over the head there.
This is a nice mix.
Looking for 11.
The top of him, staying in that deep zone. If they can come up advances like that to, I would say, look like they have an offence that can definitely compete with Rushmoor, who we saw have a lot of success last week.
So here we go now. What can they kick up again? Very, very stacked. And Greenridge getting through, but tackled there. Doesn't look like it's.
Decision to run the ball if you knew that you were going to bring your punt unit on if you're at about 4th and 5. You would like to see them maybe put the ball in the air, at least maybe try something that's going to get them 4th and 3, 4th and 2 even, just so that you can go for it afterwards, because you had so much positive momentum on the start of that drive. As long as you don't give up a touchback here, you can maybe still put Rushmoor in a really difficult position to start off their drive.
So I believe that's number 11 there. Alexis looking to kick it away. And a low kick. They're making sure that does not go for a touchback. Wow. What a punt. I mean, you know, it's difficult to say what a punt sometimes just because, you know, you never
It's a Brit ball punt.
Yeah, you never really want to punt the ball. Brit ball punt into the wind. You know, the classic is, I imagine you've seen it, a punt going backwards. Yeah, that has happened. I've seen that with my eyes.
No, I mean, that's, you know, I think Wembley probably would have liked to have maybe got down to the red zone. I think they showed that they've definitely got some talent on their offence on that first drive. But equally, I think that their defence is probably going to be pretty happy being right here.
So here we go, the Olympians 33, Norwich 0 in the first quarter. What? 33-0 in the first quarter? Oh, great low tackle there from, I believe that might be 55 of the Stallions there. I will say it seems to be, I know that we're locked in right here in Rushmoor. Very strange happenings in Norwich. Norwich was sort of pitched as maybe a favourite. They went very, very far last year. It seems to be very much struggling this year. I know it's only week 2, but that scoreline does not give me much hope. And another run here from the Knights.
Yeah, it's worth noting for the Knights as well that they've got the addition of Tom Althwaite, former GB lineman, back on the line with them this week. And we saw on the play before that went for a first down, where he's able to kick somebody out and they're able to make space for him to run in up the box. I think last week the offensive line looked like one of the stronger units that Rushmoor have. I think adding to it, they might be able to run the ball down the field on many drives, and that's going to be massive for them, wearing that Wembley defence out. Let's see how they keep going on this drive.
Oh, and an absolute bullet pass there. Doesn't find anyone, but QB on the run. Get it up again.
Yeah, Wembley look like they've got some quite fast players in and around the box, so it's going to. They're going to hope that they're going to be able to contain Calvin scrambling. We've seen that as a weapon in many games that we've watched with him. There looks to be space outside to try and get the receivers the ball, but Wembley's looking okay in coverage as far as their defence goes, and that's going to be a really strong point for them, because we saw how much damage the Rushmoor offence was able to do, especially with that big slot number 81 against Portsmouth. So being able to contain that would be massive.
Looking like a 3rd and 7 here. QB's look. Oh, there's a man. Oh, from my angle, it looked like 81. Could have had it, but again, I'm not the man in the arena, as they say. So going through some of the scores around the league, the Aztecs score on their first drive 7-0. Oh, sorry, 7-0 against Cats. Cats come back 3-7. The Darlington Steam 8, Bombers 0, Scunthorpe Alphas 6, Giants 0. The Wyverns, obviously last week we saw they had a bit of a stressful game. Currently 13-0 up against South Wales and 35-0 now for the Olympians over the Norwich Devils, while the Bombers bring it back 7-8 as we get our first flag of the game.
We're lucky that we've got a close one here.
So too many men on the field. I'm being told too many men on the field, but I need the ref's very far away.
Is there anything quite like early season and special teams?
Again, people are just excited. You know, special teams are the place where, you know, players obviously go on to test themselves, get put onto the full depth chart, and they just want to take another one. And now it looks like there's going to be taken 5 yards. Definitely too many men on the field. When you see a referee counting, you know it's there. Oh, flag waved off. Tell you what, Sport Tank meteorologist Tebbs, it's definitely sunny, but it is very, very windy here today in Rushmoor. Good snap. Good spin on that kick, and it's being returned now by, I want to say, number 20 of Wembley.
And that's a big tackle right there. If you're able to make a tackle on that first contact, that's always how you're able to limit those returns, because you can definitely see that there's a lot of space if he was able to avoid that tackle. A good play by the Rushmoor defender there.
And that's Prince, I believe that was... I had the number.
Prince in the Revolution. Prince in the Revolution.
Don't purple rain this, Steve, mate. So we're going, it's going to be another run play from Greenridge.
So it's interesting. We saw on the last drive, Rushmoor were playing with that one high safety look. Now that they've seen that sort of trips bunch tight to the line of scrimmage look, they've now rotated into a 2 high look, dropping number 0 back to play safety alongside the other safety. And usually that means that you've got less players in and around the box, so it should be, in theory, be easier to run the ball. With that trips look, you're able to create great angles of blocking and sealing on the edge. So it'll be really interesting to see how this back and forth keeps playing out.
Let's have these early game adjustments. Big for what? Oh, and almost picked off there by, they're so far away and I can't see what number that is.
It looked like number 0, the guy that has dropped back and rotated down. That's essentially what happens when you move into those 2 high looks. You're able to get 3 players in and around 1 in zone coverage, and it makes taking those shots really hard. I do think it's probably the right move still though on 2nd and 3. Take a shot down the field, see what happens, and now you can always try and pick up the first down by rushing the ball here.
Number 0, Soyoy for the Knights. And the QB just runs it up the middle. Can he get there?
Yeah, clever play there. Good way to make sure that D-line is going to be switched on, and hopefully, you do those small little things in the hope that eventually it'll pay off. They'll jump a little bit early, maybe get 5 yards. You have to keep them on their heels. You have to keep them guessing. You can't let them just start rushing downhill as soon as they get an idea that the ball might be snapped.
So Watson, Greenridge. Watson now is looking, throws it out to Greenridge. And Greenridge, oh gosh, what a turn of speed.
Yeah, you get the outcome you want there as a Rushmoor defence, right? If they can throw it to anybody, you want it to be thrown to a guy that's near the line of scrimmage. What you can't let happen is have that guy run up with a head of speed, and nobody even came down short of the sticks to be able to even rally and tackle. Going to have to play much faster if they're going to want to drop deep and keep everything in front of them.
And probably I'd say the first time Wembley's sniffed scoring position for today. And Greenridge does a counter, but he is dragged down by a couple of Knights. Number 45 there, going low, getting the wrap up. Going to be a gain of just 1. by the looks of it, for the Stallions.
Yeah, that's much better field of Rushmoor defence. They're able to come down and make some plays at the line of scrimmage. The Wembley O-lines look good so far. They're quite a compressed unit. They're all standing pretty much toe to toe. So there's not a lot of space in there to try and slip into those gaps and make those plays. So good job there. Let's see if they can keep doing that.
Greenridge running right to the outside. Looking like that might either getting to the down marker or potentially even a 1 yard loss. Looks like it is going to be a 1 yard loss, a 2 yard loss even.
Yeah, and just another really great play from the defence that time. There's two ways you can try and disrupt the run. You can either fill the gaps and force them to run down the line of scrimmage, or you can actually go through those gaps and try and make a play. We saw that on the first down. Second down, they're able to force that guy to run down the line and they're able to bring him down short of the sticks.
There's definitely no lacking of aggressiveness from this Rushmoor side. As now Watts is looking, quick throw and almost picked off but batted away and preventing the first score of the game going the way of the Stallions. As we now hear from the Wembley side, they are going to be bringing on the field goal unit.
Yeah, and this will be a pretty tough kick. Probably, it's only about 30, I want to say about 37 to 40 yards, depending on where the ball's being spotted. But into the wind, I mean, we saw one go short over here with the wind behind them, so we'll see where this one goes.
I'll tell you what, it is, you know, it's real when you get excited about watching the potential for a 37-yarder, but here we are. Wind died down for that. No good, and we've still got a tie game here in Rushmoor, and we do have a Stallion down.
I believe that's number 20. So after watching those drives, who do you think is going to score next?
It's very, very difficult. Like, both teams have shown that they have got a great pass attack. Both defenses, you know, definitely credit to the Stallions. It's the first game, you know. People, they say, you know, do you really rust if you're training? It's always different when you're going up against an actual opponent. So credit to Stallions for coming out hot. But realistically, it's so difficult. I'm gonna make a punt here. Sorry to the guys on the rundown. I think Wembley might score first. Watch this go for like 90 yards. It's caught by, say, 89. Flag on the far side. 2 flags on the far side. That official is loving it. Okay, this is an interesting one. The Cambridgeshire Cats currently lead the Bristol Aztecs 10-7, while the Ouse Valley Eagles have got a safety against the Ipswich Cardinals.
I'm getting the feeling I want to see this Cambridgeshire Cats team play at some point. They've had an exciting start to the year through 5 quarters.
They certainly have. I mean, if you would have even said that the Cambridgeshire Cats would lead the Aztecs at one point, I imagine that in some circles you'd probably get laughed at. But it's a reality now. Obviously, Aztecs had a bit of a wild pre-season game over in Amsterdam.
And it definitely seems like there's been a spot opened up for a team to come in and be competitive in that Prem South. You know, it seems like maybe the Blitz aren't going to be as competitive as their name suggests. And so there is a spot for somebody to come in and contend and knock about with the Warriors and the Aztecs. I would be surprised if they're really truly at that level, but we'll be interested to keep hearing the updates through the half.
So it looks like there's going to be a holding on Rushmoor and a penalty on Wembley as well. Looks like it's an unsportsmanlike on both holding. Both holding.
Holding both ways. It's now first down.
Cool. Need to pay more attention to my Madden referees.
This is what we come out for, though, on a spring afternoon, isn't it? To see refereeing bureaucracy deciding who was holding who the most and how many yards and whatnot it's worth. Really does make the day go by fast.
It is the classic though. Like there's Really, there's holding on every play. Like, for people to turn around, no, there isn't. No, there is. There is. There certainly is.
And they decide to call it twice.
Here we go, just a quick snap there. Oh, and a great run. Finds the outside lane. First down and a lot more.
Yeah, and you can hear that Wembley sidelines really not happy that they allowed that to develop. Great job there by the running back. You know, he's pressing that front side, he's pressing to the right initially, sees that they're washing those the defenders away, so he cuts it back, gaping cutback lane through the box there. Wembley are really going to have to tighten that up. They've done a good job to start, but doing it down to down is going to be the challenge for them in this game.
There's another run, and just a great effort to get forward there. Contact was made on the line, but just falling forward.
And you've got to give credit to both O-lines to start. They've both been running the ball really well. The running backs have been good with the ball in their hands as well. You see that they're not just getting the yards that are given to them, they're actually going and finding yards after as well. So this has been a really nice game to watch so far. Surprising that it hasn't resulted in points early, but definitely looks like there could be quite a lot of points left over later in the game.
So 42 Sekwall are having a great game so far, but it's a pass this time. Out to the screen. Making one man miss, but getting wrapped up by number 10 of the Stallions was 89 of the Knights.
And that's a great play
Stephen
right
Godfrey.
there. They've been running the ball, they come out in the same look, but they've got a bubble screen off of it. They hit that. Safeties aren't able to come down and crash because obviously they've got to respect the pass as well, and they've got to respect that they've also probably got to come down into the box and make a tackle if it is a run. So far, I really like what the Knights are doing. It's just about being able to keep putting the plays together so they can keep the ball moving and then not stalling out in the red zone.
Another first down here for the Knights. Can they make it? Another one, a third in a row? No. Brought down, looks like it's still going to be a good gain of 3.
Yeah, we see Wembley bringing one of those linebackers down to the line. They're just able to plug those gaps a bit quicker, make things a little bit harder. There's less space for them to get out the box there. I think you can't live like that. You know, eventually they'll start putting balls over the top, but might be a good thing to look out for on early downs. Are they being a little bit more aggressive to try and stuff this run?
2 receivers on either side. Sekwall still in the backfield. Nice quick snap, another screen pass. This time to 81. But makes one man miss, but then tackled by 15 of the Stallions.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job on that play, and then you realise that dude's about 8 feet tall, and him falling forward gets you a first down quite easily. I mean, they made contact at around the 25, but he literally fell forward for about 4 more yards. They're going to have to be really aggressive if they want to stop that play, and that might leave space in behind. So how Wembley decides to play this going forward will be interesting.
Rickard 81 there with a great first down here. Ever since that field goal attempt there from the Stallions, the Knights have definitely switched on. And he's going. And that looks like it's going to be another first down here. Oh no, looks like it's just going to be short.
I think you like this though. You'd rather have go for the red zone.
100%, yeah. Opens up a lot of possibilities here.
And this is where you usually get your man coverage as well. Teams at some point within the red zone, they decide we can't go to zone anymore. We're just going to man up across the board. Normally they send 6, so you likely know what's coming, and you're able to get to your matchup and just pick the play that's going to get them the ball the best. Look for 81 here again.
And wide open was.
It was number 6, Travis Carpenter there.
Perfect.
We saw them run that bubble screen a couple of times. They got to rally down and crash. They then fake the bubble screen and have the receiver running deep over the top, wide open. But Wembley managing to get a couple rushes at the quarterback meant that he was just a touch off. But early warning signs there in the red zone. They're going to have to be really switched on, this Wembley team.
So what are you doing here?
I think I would probably have tried something again and then gone to a run, but ooh.
Okay, that looks like it's gonna cheers from the Wembley sideline, and the far official is calling that short.
Yeah, he seemed very excited to call it short.
He did sprint. Getting the steps in.
Got to make that decision with authority. Nobody's questioning it if you sprint in at 100 miles an hour.
So here we go now. Critical for Rushmoor here. 4th and 1.
You don't fancy trying to miss a field goal here?
I'd go for it. You've got momentum on your side. Oh, and there's a QB keeper and Wembley. Wow, wow, wow. And Wembley just...
Yeah, that's a fantastic job right there from Wembley. We discussed earlier on how difficult it's going to be to contain Calvin Stitt in the pocket. But so far, their box defenders have done a really good job of being nice and quick. They've definitely managed to get to the edge a couple of times so far, the Rushmoor have. But overall, this Wembley defence is held up quite strong in comparison to Portsmouth anyway last week.
Well, Alfie Painter there, number 69 for the Stallions.
Huge play for
was
them.
the man who made sure that points did not go on the board. And Rushmoor didn't get a chance from close to the 10-yard line as Wembley's offence is back on. And Greenridge has got the ball, fighting through. Breaks a lot of contact there.
And I love what this Wembley offence is doing. They come out and they've used a lot of trips. They've used some of those stack bunch formations, tightening up the field. And now they're coming out and they're lining up in the I formation. So Rushmoor have had to rotate, bring a safety out and less players in the box. Now they're bringing heavy form personnel into the box and saying, are you going to rotate down? How are you going to play it? And you see immediately Rushmoor rotate down to get more tacklers in and around the box.
So 3rd and 4 here. And it's another QB run up the middle. Goes nowhere.
Yeah, and you don't mind.
It's a bit of a strange play call, I'd say, but that again, that's just me.
I'm a fan of it, just in the sense you're turning around to Rushmoor and you're just going to be like, look, are you actually going to do your job and fill the gaps you're meant to, or are you being a bit lazy? Are you being a bit off the ball? And now I think you can see they've put their big number 70 over that. I don't think that play's happening again.
32, and it's Greenridge again, and he finds a wide gap, and he's got space, and he has got speed, and and Greenridge is going, and
that boy is
absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing there from 33 of the Stallions. He found that gap, and now he's found the red zone. Huge, huge yardage.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing to see when it's of spread, right? You just get under, you get fullback, follow in behind him, and you just go. That's a brilliant play there from Wembley. I think my thing was, are they going to be able to keep stringing these plays together? Because it's been tough for both sides to just put a play together down after down after down. But now they don't need to. And that's the plays that you're looking for as an offence. Can you get a play that's 20 plus yards that just takes some of that pressure off having to do it each down?
I won't lie, Tom, I'm just happy that I managed to be right for once and say that Wembley were going to score first. It doesn't happen often, but it's happened here today. And the ball looks like it's gone wide, but a flag on the kick.
And it definitely does change the decision making. If you're now on the 1 yard line, you can just punch it in. After that last play, you've got to think that you've got the ability to be able to just get a yard here, right, and put 2 on the board.
Yeah, it looks like that was going to be a rough in the kicker. So Wembley get another chance to put more points on the board. Looks like they're bringing on their classic offence. They certainly are. They're going to be looking to put 2 on the board. 25 in at running back. He was looking to dump it off and almost intercepted, so the scoreline is 6-0 to the Stallions after a great run from Greenridge.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game of football now. I think that Rushmoor didn't really have to show that they were a particularly resilient side last week. They went up early, was able to keep quite comfortable throughout the whole game. I think for one of these bigger teams that you're hoping are going to be able to maybe do something in the playoffs, it's something you want to see early. Can you go down, maybe not start your hottest, and pick up form through the game and control the game late?
It was textbook running back play from Greenwich there, but but it was enough of sort of an outlier just how wide that gap is that Rushmoor can turn around and say, let's not make those mistakes again. They can chalk that up to luck if they want to put that into their head. So again, sometimes I worry, especially in Britball, that the second you go down for Rushmoor, but completely right, it's resilience now for the Knights.
Definitely not. I think the next score will definitely say a lot about this game. I'll say this, that Rushmoor cannot afford to let that go unanswered. They have to get points here, because I think that their defence is really going to struggle if they go down 2 scores, especially if it's another play of a similar nature where it's the tackling that's what holds them back.
And number 4 with a good kick going right. Caught by number 26 of the Knights, but there's 3 Stallions around him. And a little bit of afters from 37 and 45, but not enough to draw any sort of penalty.
And if you're going to concede points, if you're going to get the ball back on the 40, you're probably quite happy. We mentioned the return game last week, and so far no different. No team seems to be able to start with the ball inside their 30.
Still Q1. Well, it's been going on for ages.
Yeah.
And as soon as I say that, I can guarantee the whistle will blow now. No, okay. But a pass out to the side. Good gain there on the screen pass.
Yeah, and I like that from the Knights. They're just chipping away. They're just taking what the defence is giving them. They've been multifaceted so far. They've done some things in the air. They've done some things on the ground. They're forcing Wembley to cover the whole field, and I think they need to continue to do that. We saw them take a couple of deep shots earlier, and they weren't quite successful. If they can suddenly start to unlock those, then they're going to be in trouble.
There you go, and a run plate up the middle. Looks like it's sniffed out there. Don't worry, Seb. I have seen the messages. I will start doing that. There we go. Yes, get it. Time management, Tebs. What a guy.
Your football body clock is on point.
And I tell you what, if you're a lineman, you're never happy about this. A nice short walk for the turnover of the field during the first second. I remember I used to have a nice stroll. A nice stroll, yep, thanks. Ask him to stop using that picture, but he keeps using it. Awesome, cool. Right, no one cares about the context of that picture, or that I don't have that colour hair now.
I mean, I've never heard the context, but the game hasn't got boring enough for you to explain it yet.
No, it hasn't. if the scoreline holds, then we'll explain the context. So,
one thing I'm looking for in this second quarter is if Rushmoor has realised that there's about 1.5 foot difference between number 81 and the defender lined up over him at safety. If they do realise that, there could be a lot of yards to be found there.
Oh, here we go now, and it's a run. Big hit there, but the big hit was between 2 Wembley players hitting into each other, and it looks like it's going to be a first down.
And even though it did go for a first down, I did think that was a really nice play there from 40. He managed to contain it, to force the quarterback not to keep it, to give the ball off, but then he made sure to squeeze down the line so they were able to contain that run. Obviously, you do want to be stopping them from getting yards on third down, but that kind of play is going to bode well for them if they're able to continue to do it going forward. It will frustrate Rushmoor.
So trips left here for the Knights. Sekwa's got it. He runs in the middle and he finds that gap. And he just runs over, I think that's number 19 of the Stallions. And another first down here. Again, it's the whole thing of, you would love to have every play be what Green did there, 33, run down the field, beautiful. Doesn't have to be that way. You can just get the first down. As long as it gets in, that's the main point.
Yeah, and I'm loving this. It's really back and forth. There isn't a team that's just play after player just getting it right. It's really varied.
Yeah, there. And Seb, stop having a go at me.
Yeah.
How about that? No, stop it. Stop putting the picture up. Get no respect, Liam. None at all. But let's we have to get the prawn cocktail crisps today. That's what we're all about.
It's the rider.
Penalty on Rushmoor. They're back behind the sticks. Sequel has got it. I'm interested to see where that's going to land them.
Yeah, it looks like he's been marked down. It looks about 2nd and 10 potentially.
Oh, let's see, where's that? I'll wait for that stick to go. It looks like, again, it's so difficult from this angle because it doesn't look like it's directly behind the ref from where we are, but so let's play it safe. 2nd and 11 here for the Knights.
I guess if teams want us to stream, give us a hill and we'll be all in.
Hereford stamp, no. And it's going to be QB's rolling out left, looking, but thrown out of bounds.
And they just don't seem to quite be able to connect through they're doing a good job on their quick screens off the run game, but in the pass game they don't quite seem to be able to have things all put together at the moment. There's definitely space. I think the quarterback just needs to get on the same page as his receivers, and also keep looking for those outside shots as well. The way that the corners are playing, they've got fast receivers on the outside. If they can maybe stay in the pocket a bit, quick throws out to deep and outside, they might have more success. But it is a bit. I like that they keep trying to get the pass game working, because I think they are going to need to have the pass game working with the run game if they want to be an elite team this year.
Even just today, like both teams came down. They knew it was going to. They felt the wind. They thought it was going to be run, run, run. Flags flying. They thought it was going to be run, run, run. A team that can sort of dial it in, fight against this wind, and have this run game. Oh, sorry, and have this pass game. Could very well be the victors.
And I like that both teams are doing creative things to get to it as well. You know, they're trying to use RPOs to make sure that the defence has to cover the whole field. We've seen Wembley in particular using lots of different formations to present different looks. It's been really good football to watch, I think, so far.
Now a penalty on Rushmoor again puts them back behind the sticks again, but this time it's 3rd down. Looking like a
look for number 81 to run a corner here.
Oh, and he's got it.
Yeah, not number 81 that time, number 89, Stephen Godfrey. Rushmoor liked that route. They weren't quite able to get to it in the last game they played with Portsmouth. I'm sure Steve remembers that no, they tried to hit number 81 on a corner about 3 times in the second half, and they never quite connected. But they're trying to get it outside more, and we finally see them connect on one just there.
But big first down hit, basically exactly what we were saying. I love it when teams do that. We do have a score update of 55-0 at half time. The Olympians over the Devils. Something's happening in Norwich. Fresh set of downs here. Sequoia's got it. He sees a wall. Breaks left, but a couple of Stallions there.
I'd love to know if there's any circumstances about that game, like that is one of the teams missing their quarterback, or is there something surprising and drastic that's happened, because that definitely is a very surprising scoreline so early in the game. Either that or the O's really came out to play.
Yeah. 55 before the half. I believe it was 35 in the first quarter as well. Oh dear.
Yeah, I can't.
Mercy clock first quarter.
I can't imagine wanting to be in that huddle.
Only in second half.
Oh, I don't. I was just thank God for that. That would have been a long drive for a short play here. QB is looking. Oh wow, and he just jukes number 40 of the Stallions. He does manage to. Number 40 does manage to get the QB down, but not after.
And you can see Wembley understood the assignment coming in. I mean, there were 5 guys around him when he got up. There were about 3 guys around him when he got tackled to the ground. to be able to get that many guys flooding to the QB on the scramble, that's really impressive because it's one of the most dangerous plays in football, you know. If you're able to drop back, look at 4 guys downfield, and then 2.5 seconds into a play when they're not open, you can then just go and run into the free space. That's a massive advantage to have if you've got it. So when they're able to take that away, that's going to make it much harder for the Rushmoor offense to just get 3 yards. You know what I mean?
And it seems to be the second that the Rushmoor Knights get down into this area, that's when the Wembley Stallions completely lock in. They're looking for another throw here. Oh, and he's open. Oh, wow, let's see. That's going to be very close here, but the passing attack for the Knights is starting to click now. 2 big plays has led them into the red zone. Sticks go down. Very difficult to see where they are.
And that's what the RPO game, the run game, the throwing the ball outside the hashes, that's what it does for you. It means that those safeties aren't able to look at the middle of the field as much, and that's how it's opening up. So I think both sides have basically said to the other defence, we can do a lot of different things, you've got to cover it all. And both sides are having trouble adjusting to it so far.
Here we go, and it's a handoff. Forward momentum and a stop there. Wembley cheered, but there's still, there's still 3 more downs yet to play.
And I like the fight that Wembley are bringing as well. You can see that their sidelines getting up for it. I think their players are probably doing a little bit of talking back and forth, letting them know that they're here and they're making a statement so far. It's been a cracking game. I really want to see how this red zone drive finishes off.
If they score here, we're going to say we've got a game on our hands. That's the question. Will we be cliche? And it's a QB keeper now, making people miss, but just okay.
Yeah, we saw he rolls out, he just drops in behind. Would be interested to know if there was any ineligible blocking downfield, but it all happened so fast. I don't think the refs were quite able to see what was happening. But credit to the Knights there, scrambling out, making a play happen. And as you said, we've got a game on our hands.
Damn, I wanted to say that. What the hell? Okay. And Rushmoor take the lead. I can't believe that's just happened to me. I've been usurped already. It's awful.
I credited you for the words, you know. I wouldn't have been able to come up with them myself.
Okay, but Rushmoor take the lead. Great drive, relying more on the pass, which is exactly what we said, which is always nice to see. But can Wembley, I wouldn't say replicate a drive like that, or replicate the drive they had, just because Green was so, he just picked the right gap and went through. Can they have like a sustained drive the same way that the Knights have?
I almost think that I'm sort of looking at the opposite. I'm not expecting them to maybe get 60 yards, but I think they want to keep looking to generate those explosives, right? Obviously, we don't have tons of data to be able to work with at this level, but at higher levels, generally, if you can get a play of 20 yards on a drive, the odds of getting a touchdown that drive go up about 3 times. And then pretty much the opposite, if you have a sack, you're like 3 times less likely to score on that drive. So I want to see them continue to try and get those big plays that move the ball down the field a lot at once.
6 there with a good kick. That's going out of bounds there.
Smart play by 24, letting that ball go out of bounds. Special teams coordinator is going to be happy with him, I'm sure. Give him a little pat on the back for remembering his rule book.
And it's strange to say that how many times people just forget that rule. Just take that down now to the 40, as opposed to picking it up and just having your life ruined, not by the other players, but by your special teams coach.
Honestly, at this point, I would recommend Rushmoor probably onside kick going forward. Best field position after a kickoff.
Here we go now. Wembley, first time in the game, are down. First time in the season, but that doesn't count because it's their first game. But we move. Okay, what can they do here? And it's a handoff to Green again, and he just charges through three Knights who bring him to the floor.
Yeah, and that's a nice start. making the safety
Ooh,
come
wow.
down and make a tackle.
I tell you what, that is more yards than I thought he got there. Again, just going by the angle, I thought that was maybe 4, but it looks like it's going to be 6, or so I'm going to go 6.
Well, I don't think the O-line for Wembley's done anything flashy so far, but they are really moving these boys about. And the DBs are the ones that are having to make tackles. It's very challenging play after play.
And a catch there and a great bit of defence there from the Knights.
Yeah, you can tell that they needed to make a play. Like that kind of excitement after a play, you know that they really needed that. Third and long, this is completely changed. You've gone from second and short, thinking that you're probably going to have an easy time down the field based on the last drive and that play just then, and now suddenly you've got to pull something out, or they might be on and off the field quite quickly, which we haven't really seen in this game other than the first drive.
Here we go. Looks like QB calling something. He's looking for a throw, and number 6 just couldn't get his fingertips on it, but close.
I'm surprised there. There's multiple receivers open downfield and just couldn't quite get the ball in their hands. You hope that Rushmoor, sort of, for their defence, is sort of looking at those plays and they're not just happy with themselves they made the stop. They're actually sort of looking at, well, how on earth did they get open? How are we going to stop this? Because we've seen them have to keep rotating between that 2 high shell and that 1 high shell. We saw them not do any of that last game. So is the different threats that Wembley's presenting making it challenging for them to be in their roles and assignments.
A high snap, but it gets it away. Very high ball. 89's caught it.
That looked like a fair catch infringement there.
And a flag on the play there.
Yeah, you saw 89 was waving for that fair catch. It looked like the DB that was going downfield as the gunner probably wasn't able to get his eyes to see that he'd called the fair catch because he was engaged with a blocker. Really good job to make the play and the tackle, if only he hadn't called for a fair catch.
That's it. So that ball that looks like it was going to be spotted, I'd say the 20-yard line, looks like it's going to be moving slightly forward for Rushmoor.
I'll bet you a quid it's on the 36 instead of the 35.
Oh. Brilliant ball. And I believe a congregation of zebras is called a dazzle, if I'm not mistaken. So dazzle of the zebras they're discussing.
I've heard past coaches refer to them as a bunch of idiots.
That's coaches, not thoughts of sports tank.
I thought you meant a bunch of zebras. I wasn't talking about referees.
Wait, what? When have you been to a zoo with coaches? What's going on? Anyway, here we go now. Rushmoor get a good bit of yardage there on the fair catch infringement. They're coming out in trips. On set there. This is just a classic run play there. No, nothing too free there. Nothing that's going to maybe could go on the highlight tape. It's just good football, but you know.
Both teams seem to be having real success running on first down. After that, it all seems to change. But early on, teams are both moving the ball early to start with. It's interesting. Neither defense is really seeing to lock in until after the ball's gone over their halfway line.
100%. It's been absolutely mental to watch this game. That when it's in your half, they love a bit of home field advantage. Oh, that's another good run, dragged down. Looks like that's just going to be a couple yards over the first down marker.
Probably one of the better offensive halves of football I've seen so far in Brittle for a while, and yet it's only resulted in 13 points, which is surprising. But it's just been really consistent on both sides, and then the defence hasn't made a play on every down, but they've just been able to make some plays at some really key points, and I think it's produced some fascinating football so far. If the second half is going to be like this, this is a really interesting game overall.
Oh, great RPO there and a great catch. And that's going to be a first down and an extra 4 on top. Again, it's very, very, very evenly matched. I completely agree with you that no one's really locking, nor the defenses. The second that it crosses that halfway point, let's get him out. Let's finish
Yeah.
this. Third down, punt it away, or even just, normally going for a field goal. That's how bad it is. It's not a punt situation. It's a
I don't
field
think
goal
we'll see
situation.
it, but I would just love for Rushmoor to play with more tempo here. We see on their early downs
yeah.
they're not doing anything too crazy, you know. They're generally just going with a zone run. They've got an RPO screen or maybe like a little hitch attached off of it or something. They're managing to find space in the defense and stretch them out. I wish they could get to the line again and do it again. Just keep that moving. So I think that's where they can maybe catch Wembley off, because you know Wembley, it's their first game. Remember, are they completely at the levels of fitness that are required for this game one in comparison to Rushmoor, who have ran it down the field all game against Portsmouth?
Whereas Blanco there with a great ankle tackle there on Sekwala. Sekwala still right up the middle. It looks like he found a gap, but I tell you what, number 42 for Rushmoor, sometimes you don't see it. There's a defender stood in his way. Nah, I want those extra 3 yards. Smash.
And normally you think about running backs, you think they're one of the shorter guys on the team, right? They're normally sort of like, 5'8". They're always quite quick and quite strong, but this boy's big. Like, he's tall, as well as being elusive. And you see, I don't think he's been knocked backwards on a tackle. No. Every tackle, the guy that's making that tackle is taking that hit. It's got to be bruising out there for those DBs that are having to come down and make those plays.
Here we go, new QB in, but it's going to be a pass out to 89. Evades one man, but 2 Stallions come in for the tackle. It's interesting to say on the cardio front, obviously, we're looking at Wembley, all the people can look at Wembley. That's a big squad. Like, does it somewhat take away the cardio factor? Well, it depends, because it depends how many people, are they at training? How many reps do they get?
Are they any good?
Exactly.
We don't know. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of rotation so far. I think the depth of the squad really comes into play sort of towards the end of the season, once you've got a couple injuries, you're able to ride them out. But I think, is that a first down?
It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, and that's going to be a first down. And Rushmoor are cooking. I know, I do make the example a lot of the, the Madden meter. You play it, what colour's it going, who's got the momentum. They say it's grey or light blue, depending on what Rushmoor, what colour Rushmoor want to represent them. Because this has been another cracking drive here for the Knights, ever since that huge play from the Wembley Stallions.
And we hope they can find something in the red zone. They don't seem to have a particular plan in the red zone that's necessarily different to the rest of the field.
And that ball is up and just over the head. That corner post was probably on the receiving end of a absolute hammer in there.
Yeah, and we see them keep trying to push. They've only been successful once when trying to throw to that deeper outside part of the field. You do want them to, I personally think I'd like to see them look over the middle of the field a little bit more, especially with those linebackers are coming down to those boxes. Those safeties are starting outside the hashes. There's space to attack in there. You've got matchups. I think their slot receivers over their safeties are probably one of their stronger matchups on offense. Go and attack that. You're making it harder on yourselves than you need to be.
Another pass play. Oh, wow. Just like what you said, it's always great when you do that. Touchdown signaled, and Rushmoor puts some more on the board. And what was a first quarter of very evenly matched football. Rushmoor go up one more score here. And Wembley are going to need to find an answer here, because it's always difficult when you have a big splash play as opposed to these consistent drives where you're getting it down the field.
Yeah, and I think Wembley they need to work out where their finishing plays come. Like, where's their strongest play that's going to look on offense? Like, what is the look that's going to be to get them those 3rd and 5s, to maybe try and take the top off? There's definitely holes in that Rushmoor defense that can be exploited, and we've seen them have problems defending lots of different types of plays to start off early. So how is it that they're going to attack that?
Because one thing you did say at the start of the game is the passing defense of Rushmoor. It might not be there, but Wembley sort of haven't been able to really exploit that, whereas Rushmoor have had a lot more success in the pass game. Is it going to be something that, I know that there's probably a fair bit of time left in Q2, but is it something that's going to have to be a half-time adjustment? I could definitely say last week half-time adjustments ran rife in Somerset versus Bristol, where it seems as though, and I do think Somerset came out, and I do think Somerset are a good side, but it seems to me that Somerset didn't really change much, whilst Bristol did, and they managed to put heavy heavy points on.
Well, I feel hopeful for Rushmoor because the way I look at it, if you're waiting until half time to make adjustments, you're doing it wrong and you're likely losing.
100%. It's such a strange out of bounds again. Could be time for the onside call. Tom's called it as that ball's going to be going to back to the 40. But yeah, it's such a strange adage of the half-time adjustment.
As Doug Peterson said, a half-time adjustment is calling the plays you didn't get round to calling that you wanted to in the first half.
Yeah.
But I do think that I think that when you look at this Wembley defence, like just naturally it's a little bit challenging for them to play over the middle of the field just because of the structure that they play with. And we saw that Rushmoor had to adopt a similar thing, moving to that too high look to counter what Wembley's doing. So they were trying to adjust on the fly early. If they're able to kind of look at that last drive and see what went wrong, maybe that sort of corner play that they're trying to run, take that out, that's not working for us, let's move to something else that's a little bit more effective. Because they do need to keep taking shots, I think, but they can't waste them. You know what I mean?
Here we go. It's a pass now from the Stallions. He's rolling out. Not going to get it off. He's going to take off. And there we go. Wembley were looking for a flag for an out-of-bounds hit. And it looks as though they may have got it.
Yeah, and the coverage looks a little bit better there, but that's why the scrambling element's so big, because you can have a really good snap of defence and still end up losing 5 yards plus the extra 15 or so that's going to be tacked on for that late hit out of bounds. I think the big thing for me from this Rushmoor defence, when we're talking about the coverage and what the potential issues are, I just don't know if they're quite fast enough to come and rally down underneath. It's one thing to play over the top and stop those deep plays, but then if you're not actually able to come down and make plays and you're still going to be giving up first downs, and it doesn't matter. So that's how they've really got to start getting better at that, in my opinion.
And Watts, they managed to get that run off and then that flag. I thought it was a flag there. Lots of whistling. Gain of 2 there for the Stallions. One thing that I do agree with you in terms of doing the onside here. One penalty has put Rushmoor deep into their own half. Exactly. The kickoff penalty and then the unsportsmanlike, out of bounds penalty.
Yeah, and Wembley, we've seen them. I do love how they're changing. 1 minute they've got 4 receivers on the field. They're in a trips look where they've brought those guys in, and they're able to pick up some yards there. And then suddenly they take one of those receivers off. They bring in a fullback, and they're able to punch it up the middle and create lanes there. I think that's got to be a real headache if you're the DC for Rushmoor, because you have no idea which guys are going to be on the field, let alone what play they're going to call when they're there. How am I meant to be plugging things up? It's really challenging. It seems like it really is causing headaches for them at the moment. I hope for Wembley that they punch it in before going into half and we get a really interesting second half, because so far it's been great football.
So you've not seen much motion today from both teams, but 6 on the move. A handoff to 25 for the Stallions. He's breaking tackles.
I'm surprised that wasn't flagged for illegal formation. It didn't look like they had 7 men on the line after they motioned.
I've been enjoying it. I'll get on properly though and start spreading it to my mates. In the old boys.
There's 25 eagle there of the Stallions. And that is a 2nd and inches now for the Wembley side. And that box looks heavy. Now looking, at 24 has got it. Brought down by 36.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic play right there. They had him slip in through the box and able to play over the top. It's really challenging to contain this Wembley offense. They're so versatile. They can pass from lots of different looks. They can run from those looks effectively as well. I'm going to be excited to watch this offense more going through the season. I hope this isn't the last time we get to see them play, because this is an enjoyable football game so far.
And Lopez there, number 24, the man who's put Wembley into the red zone. And looks like there's some miscommunication there from Igor and Watts. Igor going one way, the ball wasn't there. Going the other way, the ball wasn't there again.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think it really mattered. I was watching the front side where he was trying to run to, and they really came down and clogged things up there. He obviously tries to go backwards and escape, and there's nowhere to go. Great job from Rushmoor there. They gambled on the fact that it was going to be a run, and they came down and fit those gaps up, and now they're in a.
Second and goal. Wembley call their first time out of the game. 38 seconds left in Q2. Both teams have had success with defence with the ball this close to their own end zone. Can Rushmoor do it again here?
And I like the look they're coming out in here. I think it would be good for them to pass in there. Look, wow. They're usually going to get man coverage here. So if they can just, if one of those defenders on the line is now slow, they should be able to just slip the ball in behind over the top of their heads.
Here we go, Watts is looking. Caught by 87, and there we go. Tom's got it right on the head once again. And Robert Jamieson there for the score for the Wembley Stallions.
And we talked, it's not just the coverage, but it's being able to tackle as well. I think there were multiple receivers open there, but they just played the ball nice and easily to the flat, and they're just not able to come and rally and make those tackles. I think that's going to be the biggest thing in this half for Rushmoor. Can they not only keep covering over the top, but are they able to come down and rally and make those big tackles and stop those yards after the catch?
Here we go, Wembley going for one. Well, it looks like they're going for one. Ball is done, ball is through. 13-14 the score here.
You going to say it?
Oh, we've got a game on our hands.
Shootout.
Any chance the missed extra point comes back to hurt?
Oh, you know what? I think it's going to be so strange when obviously they had the penalty, they tried to go for two, and it didn't work. You know, it'd be very strange if that penalty conceded by Rushmoor and then the block on the 2-point conversion. I mean, that'd be an amazing, if it goes down to 1 point, strategy. I mean, could have been awful, but if it's a 1 point game here today, it's interesting. Both these teams last year really had a lot of games that were close. A lot. Too much. With Rushmoor winning 3 games by a score or less last year, with Apache, South Wales and Apache again. Whilst Wembley, they won by 4 or less points twice last year against the Olympians and the Hornets. They also lost by 1 score or less 4 times last year, and Wembley going to try and make sure that doesn't happen here again. As we get a Rushmoor in there, as we get a Rushmoor receiving in a dying seconds of Q2. Oh, and that's a good return. Good return.
I'm just stunned. The kick returns in Britball this year in our first 2 streams have been incredible. I have no words.
But there's not going to be long left. Rushmoor do have all 3 of their timeouts.
Let's see if they use them wisely. I wouldn't say that Britball is necessarily renowned for its clock management skills. Hopefully we see the team have enough time to go down the field and try and at least put 1 throw deep into the end zone. I can't imagine they'll be looking to close the half out with a field goal, because they'll probably have to get down to the 10-yard line.
So here we go. 2 receivers on either side. Are they going to be looking deep? It's a handoff. Right into the left. Are Rushmoor going straight?
That's not very exciting where it's hard in the half, is it? Couldn't throw a Hail Mary just for us?
Yeah, and they are going to be taking a timeout, are Rushmoor.
Well, if you're going to take a timeout, it's always good to burn 5 seconds off by doing it slowly. I don't know if that's the referee maybe just doing it a little bit late before I criticise, but
like that's what I was concerned about. I thought it was going to be that run play, end of half. Referee's adding suspense to the timeout. So here we go. Same look again. This time set quality.
Look for 81 running a corner here in my book.
Just out of bounds.
Yeah, just really struggling to connect on that deep outside. It's a difficult throw. I mean, you know, I don't know how much you listened at school, Tebs, but if you're trying to throw the ball 25 yards downfield to the outside, it's a further distance throw than just straight over the top into the middle. So it's a little bit harder throw than you might initially think.
Here we go, third.
Interception. It looks like it.
Looks
All over the top and deep. Caught receiver, scrambled out and came down towards the ball, and the DB did a great job staying over the top and able to make that pick.
There we go, even with that pick, it is half time here in Rushmoor, and a game that has been very, very close. First quarter started off, looked even closer. Wembley managed to break away with a huge play, then two great drives from Rushmoor, and one more for Wembley to close out the half. Please stop using the picture.
Nice picture. The boa really pulls
Yeah,
it together.
thanks, mate. Yeah, cool. But if you, so let's start with Stal. Happen to take this game back to Wembley with a victory.
So I think we saw on some of their earlier drives, they just had a few unforced errors. You know, there was a couple of snaps that hit the ground, there's a couple of handoffs that were a bit botched. I think if they can tidy those up, then I think they're in a position to really take it to Rushmoor this half. I think they've got to keep doing the things that were working. It sounds really stupid, right? But you have to keep doing the things that are working. One of the things that I think was really working for them was the mixing up of personnel and formations and really moving the pieces around in this Rushmoor defence. I think when they come out in that first half, the first thing you want to see is have they really sort of, now that they've got a little bit of time to think through it properly, have they worked out a plan of how they're going to attack these different formations? Have they literally said, right, when they come out looking at a heavy look, we're going to bring these players here and match up this way. If we see them do this, then we're going to adjust and rotate. Like, keep testing out their rules and where their weak spots are. And then I think if you're Rushmoor, they just need a bit more consistency. They just need to find their rhythm. They don't quite look as good in the past game as they did previously. I think they're really struggling to the outsides. I think they want to keep attacking the middle of the field. There's space there. Every time we've seen them go for the middle of the field, they found success there. So I think that's where they need to funnel their passing attack, because that also seems like a big weak spot for the Wembley defence. Their Wembley defence doesn't have many weak spots. We've seen them hold up pretty well overall, not always but they've done a good job of preventing the scrambles and overall limiting the pass game. So I guess we really want to keep seeing them do that, really.
So as we go into half time, or we can have our, Sport Tank mandated lunches, I'll try and give you some scores around the league. Currently still Ouse Valley versus Ipswich Cardinals, still 2-0 at half time. In the Cats versus the Aztecs, it is 17-0 to the Aztecs at half time. Gateshead lead Doncaster 28-6. The Sheffield Giants came back from the Alphas. They now lead 20-9 at half time. It's still 8-7 from the Steam and the Bombers. And it's 55-0 at half time still between the Olympians and Norwich. Let's have a look, see what Somerset and South Wales are doing. 19-0 to the Wyverns over the South Wales Warriors. And I think that's all of the ones that I have. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to leave you for half time. Scoreline here in Rushmoor. Rushmoor Knights 14, Wembley We on? Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, join us back here in Rushmoor for a tight game.
Oh, and the kickoff's fumbled. It's recovered by the Knights by the look of
very, very close. 14-13 the score here. Rushmoor currently leading by a single point. Sorry, everyone came out a bit quickly. So Swindon Storm and Cornwall Monarchs 0-0. I'll try and get some more scores to you, but you know, the game has just kicked off. So Rushmoor had some very, very good consistent drives in Q2. Can they keep it going here? Whilst Wembley did have that score right at the end. Again, the whole joke Madameter thing, still very much in the centre for me for both these teams. Pass out wide here to number 81. That's a big man to bring down, but Wembley managed to do it with two people taking him out of bounds.
Be interesting to see whether thought they might have those free shots that you might like on second and very short. But nice, easy way to move the chains first. We saw them. Their RPO game was one of the strong elements, right? Where they're able to get good yards in the run game. The passes, whether they're quick screens or sort of slant flats, things like that off of it, have worked very well as well. Let's see how their second and third down offense picks up in this second half. And that's a big run right there. Big run by number 42. But looks like about a 15-yard gain to me. Once again, the Rushmoor O-line doing a really good job of moving those guys on the D-line, sealing off at angles and creating space for their running backs to attack. Exactly the half you're looking, starts the half you're looking for there.
Probably the biggest run of the day there from Rushmoor. I already did these before we went off.
And let's see if they can bring up the energy as well. I talked a bit about how I like to see a bit more tempo from them.
I can feel the energy from Rushmoor from over here. Wembley are loud, but Rushmoor are cooking. I mean, the second I say that is when they lose yardage.
Curse of the commentator.
I feel like we've been quite good for Curse the commentator because we've done it in a positive way today. In terms of, you know, Wembley will score first, Wembley will do this and this.
You know, let's see how we can wield it.
Let's see, Rushmoor with a bomb, but they gets put out of bounds at the 2. There you go. That's the prediction here for this game. For this drive, for this play. No, completely wrong. Couldn't be more wrong.
Maybe it's only me that has the magic touch. Who knows?
Go on.
I think they're going to do something boring here. I think they're going to try and run past
That's
option or
not
something small. It's more likely to be right.
Did hear someone do a sketch impersonation from the Wembley Stallions sideline? Not on it. Josh Ricketts, the abominable Josh Ricketts, who plays for the Aztecs, did that on a night out all night, and it was really annoying. Okay, let's get back into it. So 2nd and 15. Straight back to the down marker there. Doesn't look like it's going to be a gain of anything, but very much an emergency play there. We saw it earlier in the game where Wembley did send someone able to drag the QB for Rushmoor down. Not so much in a critical situation, or not so much in a critical situation this time, in a critical situation last time, but managing to just get it out this time.
It's really impressive as well. Wembley defensive ends having that discipline to sort of be a little bit more containing rather than going after the quarterback. They've really limited scrambling in this game. Watch them look to attack number 3 on this isolation mismatch right here as well.
Tricks left, balls in the air.
Oh, that looks like a flag. It's one of the more challenging rules I find to enforce because it can always be waved off for being uncatchable.
Yes.
But everything's uncatchable when you're knocked down to the ground. So
see, I was very perplexed there. I think that if I push this, if it went the way of PI, I wouldn't have been surprised. But I'm also not surprised that we've seen no laundry.
I think my thing is that from watching these brickball games over the last few years, I think that the offensive players need to do a better job of selling it. If you don't put your hands up to even go for the ball, look like you're in position,
okay, hang
you're
on
never
a
going to get the
second
call.
here. It's 4th down, and it seems that the Rushmoor offense are going for this on a 4th and 14, 13. I don't know. Almost though. Almost. And Wembley is celebrated, so they should be. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't mind the play call. I think that punting from this area, especially with the wind behind you, it's always
100%.
quite tricky to maybe make sure that you get the result that you want. I would maybe like to see them attack this right side of the field a bit more. I think that that's where they've got the matchups in terms of their wide receivers. I think that's maybe the side that Wembley's defence is a little bit weaker on in coverage. I'm a little bit surprised they haven't gone to look to number 81 more. I think 89's done a great job, but I'd like to see them maybe attack the right side a little bit more going forward.
So here we go now, and it's a run play. Green is running, but just ran into a wall of grey there. A little bit of extracurriculars going on.
Yeah, that's a good start to the drive on first down there. I think that what I was really looking for from this Wembley offense is, can they continue to be diverse in the way that they go about things on offense. I really want to see if they can maybe throw the ball out of this I formation as well. They've done a really good job of rushing the ball out of it. In most of the formations they've used, they've been diverse, going run and pass. Are they able to keep things mixed up here?
Oh, and what's there? Yeah, I would say that is a flag for late contact. The referee was clearly down there. Rushmoor player did jump him a bit. Yeah, and you know what? I completely understand this reaction from the Wembley Stallions.
I think I'd argue you've got to. You can't let them just drop dirty hits on you. Just because they can't stop you between the whistle, you know, if they're having to come down and look, mate. I understand it as a defensive player, you want to set the tone. But as an offensive guy, you've got to go and defend your guys like that. And we've seen this happen a few times with the QB sneak there. Rushmoor just not always switched on. They're not plugging. They're not got guys over both the centre. I think that would be a really easy adjustment to make. So it makes it harder for that under centre snap. You're putting a lot of pressure there in those A gaps. Make the linebackers maybe come down and play the B gaps instead. Although that could leave them exposed to the ISO play where that fullback's going through the gap, going up to that linebacker. So it's quite tough to defend in that regard, because there's a lot of different things that cause a lot of problems. But equally saying that, Rushmoor need to be disciplined there, because you can't be giving extra yards on top of it. I mean,
It's like the game is far too close to be giving up penalties like that. Like it was, you know, one blatant penalties that I've seen in my time in Britball games. There we go. It out right, makes one man miss. Cuts back through, but brought down.
The fact that they're having to make, it's the volume of tackles that they're having to make. It's telling me that the Rushmoor box isn't doing a good enough job of getting penetration up front, and they're not able to come down and make plays. It's putting too much pressure on that back seven, really.
And it's another first down here for the Stallions. And a very, very costly penalty, as Wembley are looking like they're going to be on the 22-yard line of Rushmoor.
And just look at how tight that offensive line is. There isn't much space for plays to be made, and that's how they're able to get outside to the edges and block
thrown a big high ball. And it looks like that just went through the hands there of the receiver. Again, just in terms of depth, I don't know if he was out the back of the end zone, but definitely went through the hands there.
Yeah, and we talked about how we want to see, you know, can Wembley pass out of these I formation looks, and we see they're able to get those shots off. So now Rushmoor is on defense, you've really got to be sort of scrambling a bit, because there's so many different ways that they can attack you, and they're finding a lot of success with all of them.
They're definitely keeping Rushmoor on their toes, and exactly what we want to do is Green runs out to the right one more time, makes one man miss again, but then another wall of grace surrounds him. See, Green just seems to be, he's got that X factor. I think it's first one free. The man has missed. he keeps on going.
Yeah, they've done such a nice job with their rushing attack, and we see you can see there's one player, the free safety for Rushmoor, who has a different lid, the white lid, and you can see it's always starting in the middle of the field, but she's having to flow to the sideline on every play when they're rushing the ball, and that's really show some warning signs where if that's how they're having to stop these plays, they're not able to stop it with those apex defenders or with those D linemen maybe being able to come through and make a play. It's got to be tiring and challenging for their defense.
So 3rd and 3 here for the Stallions. And they're just fighting through here. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, and you can feel the energy coming off the Wembley sideline now. They've really got this the momentum behind them.
Oh, and it looks like that's gonna be a first down. I see the sticks are going down.
It looks like a Rushmoor player is down on the ground, but I think it's been picked up. Yeah, Rushmoor really need to find some. They really need to find some heart in this defense at the moment, because right now they're not really able to tackle very strong. And Wembley's really having their way. They can kind of pick and choose how they want to go down the field, which is never how you want to feel as a defence.
It seems like Wembley has won the half-time. I don't know what they've had, maybe orange slices they always say here. Here we go, and it's Green again. Runs into a wall.
And that time we see a D lineman make the play. He didn't actually make the tackle, but we saw that number 70, Tom Althwaite, came in. He took on that block of that fullback and just moved him out of the way, which means that the linebackers are able to come in behind and make that tackle. That's a really impressive play. Good job getting them, just not moving the ball 5 yards every time they're running it here. Let's see how they come out and attack them with a couple more downs to burn before having to make a decision on 4th.
Here we go, 2nd and goal. 2 receivers, one receiver on either side. I form. What are they going to do here? And it's to Green to the right. He's had a lot of success on that right-hand side, and he dives for that pylon, and it's touchdown Wembley. And Wembley take the lead again in this game.
And I love that call, Tebs. You know, you've just seen, you tried to run the ball inside from that formation. The blocks got taken on. They weren't able to get the space that they wanted. So next time we call a lead run outside. And that play, the fullback, he's taken on that apex defender who's shown that they're maybe not as physical, not able to make the plays you were hoping. And then he's just got a race to the pylon, which is quite easy for him to win because he's got some wheels.
I will say the one thing that may have been missed there, number 33 Green, slow to get up. Slow walking off the pitch, doesn't look, hopefully he's fine, but kick is through there for Wembley. Flag on the opposite side, yeah, number 33 very slow to get up there. They lose him, Wembley lose him. Could be a very big blow.
But it also might not be. We talked before about depth. We have no idea who's behind him, right? Yes. This is where we find out. But I do think that from what I've seen of the Wembley offence, let's say that number 33 isn't able to play for the rest of the day. I do think that they've got a lot of yards that can be found. I'm not saying that it can just be anybody back there, but I don't think that you need to have the most elite running back for them to be able to get 5-6 yards on these plays. I think that the offensive line and the fullbacks on those blocking plays are doing a good job of giving them those 3 yards before they have to then go and manufacture them. But that's what they're going to miss, is that 33 can turn a 6-yard run into a 20-yard run or even like a 70-yard touchdown, as we saw earlier on in this game. But hopefully he's fine.
Yeah. There's going to be that, you know, he's just winded. You know, it could be one of those ones. Okay, here we go. Number 4, looking to kick it away to Rushmoor as Wembley take the lead one more time.
Over or under, do you think it's crossing the 30?
Oh, under. Interesting one. A spinning tackle here. Now, don't get me wrong, Green there 33. Obviously, that drive had his fingerprints all over it. But, again, still I think that blatant 15-yard penalty, and again, sorry Rushmoor if you watch this back, but that, you know, didn't need to happen. I don't really think turned the tide there for Wembley.
And thinking back to their game against Portsmouth, The 3 yards that Portsmouth gave up were what spurred that Rushmoor offence. So,
oh wow! And just breaking through there was that Wembley defender, number 45.
yeah, this Wembley team has come out really strong to start the half. You can feel the energy they've got on the sidelines, and that energy is not just coming from noise over there. You can feel it on the pitch, and Rushmoor really have to ride this out and make sure that they can kind of swing the momentum back in their favour.
A big tackle there from Perez Blanco, 46 there, as Rushmoor passed it outside. And you tell what, good catch, good run. Don't think it's going to be a first down. I don't know why that guy's
about a
moving
yard
a
short.
marker. He's moving it back. Yep, 3rd and 1. Now for the Knights. Again, definitely energy and momentum.
Bird watching.
But what sort of bird is that? Okay, let's get back into it. Momentum's definitely on the Wembley side here. You know, Rushmoor needed something to spur them on, and could be a first down. Oh, and it could be that play, and it is this play. Wow, wow, wow. Referee calling him back slightly, going to say about the 33-yard line instead of where he ended up there. What are your thoughts on that? What you're looking at me quizzically?
I can't see that far over to that side,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to judge. But it sucks a little bit. I thought it was a big run. I wanted him to keep those yards. That was a great run there.
I think that's the energy you need. Don't stay there, man. What are you doing?
It's camouflage.
Here we go. Trips right. Segwaller's got it again. Again, just.
Yeah, this Wembley defence has been really interesting because sometimes they've given up the big play, but for the most part they have been able to keep themselves in it. I think that if you ask Rushmoor what their strength is, run or pass game, I think they would say it's the run game. But overall, Wembley have done a good job on that side. I do think that actually the strength of the Knights might be their passing game in terms of the personnel that they've got and the players that they use. I think that will be the key here. If they can lean into that and make that work, that changes a lot.
Man in motion here. The Segwaller's off and getting tackled by number 1 of Wembley, John Beale. I don't know I don't know what has happened at this half time, but Segwaller just seems like he's come out even faster than he was in the first half.
It looks like it's a very tough job for these linebackers because they do have to be aware that they've got coverage responsibilities. Obviously, we saw Rushmoor use the RPO element quite a lot, and they're just not coming down super aggressive on every player. It just gives that a little bit more space.
It's a run play. Again, that looks like it's going to be enough. Maybe a gain of 2 there. I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. Certainly isn't.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do just need a couple of yards. And now they've got a fresh set of downs to play with. They're just on the edge of the red zone, so this is kind of the furthest out you can be and still have sort of shot range without it sort of feeling like there isn't enough room to operate. So I wonder if they maybe take a couple of shots at the end zone.
Looking for number 3. He's got him. Moving round people, but there's 19 there on the tackle there.
Yeah, and I think we saw maybe a flag for holding very early on in the game. Caught you off guard there, didn't I?
No,
so,
I just didn't see the flag. I was like,
oh, there is a flag. Oh, cool.
Oh, sorry, that's what you thought. Sorry, I thought.
No, I was going to compliment.
I
was going to compliment the blocking of the receivers in the screen game so far for Rushmoor. We've seen it on both sides, whether that's the bubble screen or whether that's the window screen. They have managed to get a lot of space out there. That's why the RPO game is working. But clearly, unfortunately, somebody's done something they shouldn't have done.
Here we go. Oh, always a difficult one. You know, as a former O-lineman myself, there is nothing worse than just taking maybe a step too far, especially on a play like that.
I'm surprised as well because the ball came out very quickly. It's not often you see them thrown, and I mean, I tend to use RPOs when I'm play calling, and I don't really care about a legal man downfield because it's too hard for the referees to keep up with it. The credit to them, they called one.
Here we go. A lot of movement on that Wembley line, bringing 2 backers down.
And it looks like the referee is signalling that it should be a full start.
And what was a perfect opportunity for Rushmoor to take some shots into the end zone or get closer, they are now 1st and 20.
If you want to be an optimist, they've got more space to work with.
That's it. That's the best way to look at things like this. I did Exeter Demons versus Oxford Lancers, and every time Oxford got behind the sticks, Oxford managed to pull it out the bag because they had that space.
And you see they tried to take the top off and use that space to their advantage, but ball once again just out of reach of the receiver. They just seem to not be able to quite connect. You can see they're finding the open space, they're making good decisions on offense, but they're just a couple of yards away from connecting on a lot of these plays. It's got to be really frustrating because there's not anything you're doing wrong. It's not really something you can change. It just needs to work itself out.
Here we go, Seckwaller back in, and he's running, and he might, I think he may be just a yard shy of the original line of scrimmage. That's going to be a 3rd and 11.
Yeah, and I think something that will be interesting to watch, I think that the quarterback for the Rushmoor Knights, Calvin Stitt, I think this is a position where he'd love to be able to use his legs. He'd love to be able to take off and stretch the defence and create open throwing lanes that weren't accessible before from in the pocket. But let's see if Wembley can keep him in the pocket on this down. You see the path that the edges are taking. They're not necessarily shooting straight down. They're going nice and wide. They're forcing the quarterback to try and stay in the pocket.
And another one there for the Knights.
It's like they're trying to play football on hard mode. They found it too easy, clearly. They want to see if they can do it by moving themselves 15 yards back unnecessarily on important downs.
They'd love to be able to tell that story. I had a 3rd and 16. Put it into the back of the end zone. Let's see if they can do it. And he's looking. Ball up in the air. And contested. Rushmoor want a PI there. We can hear it just to the left of us.
Yeah, I think the thing with those calls is you're never going to get it unless you really go out for it. So unless you're trying to come back through the ball, the referees are rarely going to call it. It's, as a receiver, I'm not necessarily a fan of it because it's a really hard play to make. You know, you're like, if that guy's running downhill, I can't make a play.
Yeah.
But you do really need to sell it because
also,
otherwise it just looks like you're both just competing for it, right?
Also, why am I saying yeah like I've ever played receiver in my life? Okay, but they are going for it here on a 4th and 16. Here we go. Ball's through 40. Seckwaller's got it. He's got it. Oh my Lord, and he just waltzes in for a Rushmoor touchdown. I don't see any flags on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just saying they want to make something special. Well, you've just got it there.
And we saw Wembley, they're probably thinking 4th and a mile, don't have to worry about anything over the top. So we saw them send 6 there. There was a free rusher who couldn't get to the quarterback quickly. Great job from the quarterback, staying in the pocket, understanding that there is going to be space, finding that space over the top. And both sides just, their secondary really struggles at tackling. Both teams have good areas and they just can't rally down and make a tackle.
Kick is up, kick is good. And Rushmoor take the lead once again. It's going back and forth here in Rushmoor. And I tell you what, I was about to turn to you if that didn't go through and say, what do you think about the discipline of the Rushmoor Knights? Don't get me wrong, still a concern with the amount of penalty yardage that has been accrued and lost. Accrued by Wembley, lost by Rushmoor in this second half already. But I tell you what, when you score touchdowns like that, sometimes you know, is it still something you should worry about? Yeah,
I think it's good execution on their part there. I think I almost want to say it was almost a big mistake there from Wembley. I think they've generally done a good job only sending 4 or 5 and kind of keeping the lid on things, and we sort of maybe get a bit too aggressive there, really trying to force the issue a little bit and just left a bit too much space behind. I do wonder if maybe they're going to be a bit more hesitant now to try and send that pressure, and then what does that do after it? Does that mean that maybe there are some rushing lanes that open up for the QB? How does that continue to unfold in this half? But yeah, we've got a really fantastic matchup now. This is a great day out, isn't it?
Great day out with, no, you can't say that in senior ball. And a bit of a safer kick this time by Rushmoor. And just blows out the back of the end zone there. But a lot of safer style of kick there as that goes for a touchback for the Stallions.
I'll say this, I've been less worried about a kickoff before. Ooh, that was, he was very lucky that that ball continued to roll as it did, because I cannot imagine how the Wembley coaches would have felt if their Rushmoor would say pick that up at the 2-yard line and they lost possession there. That was a very brave play.
The Stallions. Both teams have had out of ISO. Hand off to Green. He makes a man miss. Takes 2 Knights to bring him down. 52-0. The tacklers there.
Yeah, I'm glad we get to see this Wembley offense with the ball right in front of us here.
Yes.
I really want to get up close and personal with this run game right here. You can see the Rushmoor defense. They're not a small unit. They've got big boys there. But this Wembley offense has really been consistent all day, handling their business up front and finding lanes. And these running backs are really quick and decisive with the ball. It's been a joy to watch.
Once again, it really is a case of Green makes that first man miss. There was a Rushmoor Knight right in front of him, but just nothing came of it.
Yeah, like that time, you know, I've been talking about this Wembley O-line doing a good job. That time, we managed to see the D lineman number 92, I think it is, for Rushmoor slip through and just can't make the tackle. When you're going up against a run game as good as this, you have to take the opportunity to make the play when you get it.
Oh, and the fullback just runs in there. Just a collision of just. It sounds weird. Just a collision of big men. There you go. Just a thud there.
Yeah, and when I saw them hand that off, I thought that was a nice look. I thought I might catch them off guard, but immediately just stuffed in there. The interior on the D line for Portsmouth is interesting because they've got a player there in Luke Scadden who's a little bit smaller for a D tackle, but he's incredibly quick. I had the pleasure of coaching him, and he's got such a rapid get off the ball onto the snap, so he can kind of slip through double teams sometimes. And then you put him next to just a gargantuan human in Alfwaite, who's able to take on those blocks and make plays. So I think if they're able to really kick things up a gear in this second half, that might be the way to stop the Wembley rushing attack. But then, can everybody else do their job? Can the players on the edge contain the run? Can the sort of apex defenders just playing just outside the box, are they able to come and crash? It's been such an interesting chess match.
A punting unit's on the field, and it is the Wembley. Good snap, flag immediately from the far sideline ref. And calls of leave it are ignored, but again the far side referee flagged came out almost immediately.
I wonder if it might be an illegal formation. I did see that sometimes they've been setting off a little bit far behind the lines, but they might not have had all their bodies. But equally, it's probably more likely to be offside. We'll see.
There you go, another point for Tom and an illegal formation. And an extra bit of yardage tacked on there for Rushmoor. Please stop putting the graphic up. I'll
put it up in the game, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is Tibbs. He's doing another game.
Go and check him out.
Looks to be on the 45-yard line, right on the edge. Immediately a flag from the referee on our side.
I have a feeling that might be an offside based on the QB's reaction.
Yeah, QB definitely quick to see something there. Well, you can see Wembley's on the move.
I always love it when a team takes a huddle and then realises they've got much further than they thought to have to sprint out to the ball.
Yep,
It's the best thing.
And as someone who's played centre, hate it. I remember I once had an argument with my QB. He's like, no, we've got to get to the huddle. And I'm like, no, the ball is over there. We don't. We've got time. Making me sprint. Disgusting. Here we go. And a screen pass. Looks like a first down. And it is a first down.
Yeah, and you just want to see that first down offense carry over to second and third down, because Rushmoor have looked really competent on these opening downs. I mean, how many times have we seen them pick up 5-6 yards, both on the ground and in the air out to those screens? Can they channel that and keep making those plays? Because it seems like as soon as it starts to get to some of those crucial third downs, Wembley seems to come up with some answers.
Well, as the ball is now in Wembley territory, will Wembley switch on again? Running back makes a man miss, breaks some tackles, and he goes out to the left one more time, and he's right by the sticks.
Yeah, whenever you're able to get outside regularly and just the amount of tackles that both defences are having to have come from their cornerbacks, their safeties, the sort of apex defenders. I don't know what some teams, they might call them an outside linebacker, some teams might call them a nickel, you know. When those players are making tackles and it's not the linemen, it's not the backers, you just know that fundamentally something's going wrong in their plan to stop.
And a ball that definitely looked like it caught the wind, nose pointed basically up to the sky there. But again, you shouldn't be worrying too much if you're a Rushmoor fan, because it is still 3rd and 3.
I mean, that's why you want those big plays on first down, because you want to give yourself that extra down where you can try and take a shot down the field. You want to get ahead of the sticks so that you're in, especially when you're in this position here where the end zone is within reach. And now you just run your normal offense on 3rd and 3 and get the chains moving again.
A good run.
Yeah.
Simple as.
If you're looking for sort of like the ideal 3-down plan for how you want each 10 yards to go, you definitely want to get 5 or 6 easy yards on the ground. Then you want to have that opportunity for a shot, and then you want to have the confidence to be able to say, all right, we'll run it again to get our first downs, and we'll try it again next time, you know.
It's the absolute perfect way of playing football, really, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
Well, I know I can get these first down in 2 plays, so why not just have a shot? And there's going to be a run at the middle, Seckwaller back in, but he's dragged down behind the stick. No, he's still going. There's Wembley Stallions all around him, and that is going to be...
and you wonder where the forward progress is going to be marked for them here. And I don't know if the audio's picked up very well on the stream, but Wembley are feeling confident after that. You know, they gave up a few runs, and now they're saying, all right, we know what you're going to do. Have you got anything else for us?
I don't even think it. I think it may be them trying to inspire something in Wembley after, you know, Rushmoor have been able to do very well. Seckwaller back in, and again just blitzing through here. Yeah, and getting maybe 6 yards. For me, don't get me wrong, the defensive has been great. So we do have one update. The Devils 63-0 to the Olympians.
Hey, good job through 3 quarters, giving up as many points as they did in 1. That's a turnaround, you know. It's progress.
Wow. I'm sure that on the rundown tomorrow, the issues with Norwich will be discussed again at length. So in terms of this game, both defences have had sparks of greatness, both offences, but for me it's Seckwaller, the running back for Rushmoor, and Greenridge, the running back for Wembley. Like we knew going into this game, and I'm sure both these teams did, with the wind, again, which is lessening and getting worse, there was going to be a run-heavy game. But both of those players have really their back and allowed them to get in scoring position. Don't get me wrong, it's not like a case of both those players have got all the touchdowns, but
the best way to describe it is they've taken each offense to another gear.
yes,
like the offensive line is doing a good job. The receivers on both sides, I mean, they're deploying them slightly differently. Wembley using them a little bit more to create different blocking lanes, whereas Rushmoor are using the RPO to kind of keep defenders out of the box. But both sides are doing a good job with their run plan. But the running backs are doing an incredible job of finding those extra yards and making runs that are good plays more explosive. It's been fantastic to watch.
Seckwaller's running left again, finds a great lane.
And you see there, for example, they're able to get about 3 yards before make a tackle, but then he's able to shed that tackle and take them on that extra proper good running backs.
100%. And it is going to be a first and goal. They want to not so much put this game in the bed, but give themselves a little bit of extra padding here.
I think this Rushmoor defence is one that wants to play with a lead. I think that, as we see them rush the ball in there.
And just walks in,
there's a
flag
flag
on the
down,
plane.
yeah.
Didn't celebrate too early.
I have a feeling that'll be on the actually. But yeah, just to wrap up that point, I think from what we've seen, I don't think Rushmoor's defence is great at chasing a game. I'm not quite sure they've got the composure and the ability to sort of assert themselves there. I think they'll be much better playing a little bit more aggressively, a bit more downhill, less to lose if they're coming up with a score.
Okay.
Ooh.
Flag waved off there, so that is going to be 6 more points on the board for Rushmoor as they take an even bigger lead, 27-20, waiting for that extra point. So now it's going to be difficult, especially with that extra, or that 2-point conversion that was missed in the first half for the Stallions. Because now, if the Stallions score, they've got to have that. They've got to have that 2-point conversion.
I think the good thing for them though is that I wouldn't be too worried about them scoring. Yeah, I obviously touchdown drives don't just happen. They take a lot of work, but I think they're very capable of it. And I think that in this second half so far, they might have left some points on the board, it feels like a little bit. It looks that Rushmoor do look a little bit exposed over the top if they can. So maybe, you can use that little bit more aggressiveness to their advantage. Really interested to see how Wembley...
Oh, interesting that the Cats are managing to keep that game close.
Yeah, the Premiership's going to be interesting to sort of see which teams... where they all stack up, really. I think we all sort of are fairly confident generally around the top, but there's been quite a lot of changes to a lot of different teams in that division. So
I tell you what, it might just be because they're a bit more, local or something of that nature. But I don't know why. But that Cats Cheetahs game, I think that could be a very, very, very interesting game. When it comes back, I know that there's one towards the end of the season, but I don't know when their first meeting will be. As 6 for Rushmoor. Kicks it away, a bit of a better kick. No real wind there affecting that kick. Got by 19 of Wembley. Starts running. Tackle there. He just ran into a very big man for Rushmoor. He manages to grab him. Take him to the floor.
You could see he was looking for a lane to cut back, but they just couldn't quite find that gap. There. As far as this game goes, stopping a return at the 30, lights out. We're fortunate now that we've got this angle for this drive. I would recommend the viewers keep more defensive line, see how they're taking on those blockers and if they're able to cause some disruption, because that's where I think they've had the most. And what can the players around them do that to help them out? And we saw them have plays like
Don't think so. I think the network has gone down. So she's just trying to, whatchamacallit, hotspot it.
I can't do anything. I have to stop it.
Oh
Because
dear.
I can't get back out to change that.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
I tell you what, they coordinated those 3 flag throws really well. Ding, ding.
I think you've got to go offsetting penalties there, right? Both teams with illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done. We can't do anything. Because, well, actually, I'll have to stop it.
Okay. Sorry about that, Leslie. We had a brief technical issue. Also, I think you missed one play there. There was a little bit of afters after a big hit. And it looks as though that the Stallions are going back there. But again, we do apologise. But again, only missed one play as the Stallions now take on a 2nd and I'm going to say 8, 7, 8.
As a
No, not 7, 8.
I can't
17.
I can't remember the name of the referee, but I know that he used to refer to this when he was on the sidelines. It would be 2nd and a bus ride.
2nd and a bus. That's a good one. I like that. So here we go. Wembley looking to throw. Just a jump pass over the top there. So if you were in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes did something like that, it'd be the best thing that ever happened. But again, good play there.
Yeah, it was. We're seeing good coverage by the Rushmoor defence now. They've really kicked things up a gear.
I tell you what, I thought that was a lot more yards than it actually was. I thought that was a lot more yards. So you only gained about 3 or 4.
So sometimes it's the hardest plays that actually don't end up with the greatest result, because you're normally having to do something very difficult because the defence has done something great.
Another pass here for Wembley.
Oh, what a
wow, and number 4's going. Wow, we got a game on our hands. Wow.
And you remember we talked at the beginning of the game about how important the coverage unit was going to be for both sides, and we saw there that they just weren't able to keep the lid on top of the coverage. The safety lost a step on the receiver, and he's just running through from there.
And Charlie Rogers, number 4, has put Wembley back into this game. But obviously they're going to need the 2-pointer here. So this play right here is absolutely critical.
And I love the look they've come out in with that trips bunch look. We've seen them have a lot of success in the red zone through this.
And the fullback's got it, and he's in. And I tell you what, flag though on the far sideline for Wembley. Let's see who this is on, because this decision, again, critical. And it's on Rushmoor and Wembley. Number 78 for Wembley's happy.
Looks like centre behaviour to me.
100%. Absolute disgusted centre behaviour.
No, this is the tackling has been huge in this game. We've seen that both running backs have done a great job breaking tackles, but the receivers as well. They're getting catches, they're getting space, and both secondaries are just really struggling to contain plays where they are. I think that, but it's going to only get more critical as we start getting down to drives with little time on the clock, how these secondaries can adjust and limit the yards that both teams are able to get once they've got outside the box.
But, you know, I know we've said it a few times today, but I think that for the most important one, the most critical, the most pertinent, 28-28, we've got a game on our hands.
Yeah.
28-28. It is Q4.
Yeah, and these games are really interesting, right? Because, you know, at higher levels of football, you get the opportunity to practice your 2-minute drills, your 4-minute drills. You get to practice all the different scenarios. Not quite as easy to do at the brick ball level. What do these teams have prepared for these scenarios? Do they have anything special that they've got for these later drives where they need a big play, or are they just going to have to go to the plays that they think have been best in their usual offense so far? Really interesting to see Rushmoor come out with the ball in this scenario. can they get a drive building? Can they at least keep the ball and move it down the field?
Oh, and then ball settles at the 10. Rushmoor pick it up, running down the sideline. Looks like that's going to be at about the 34. There are some more afters. We've seen that pick up a lot more in the last 2 quarters. One thing I will say about Wembley, are those plays where they're throwing the ball a bit more often, especially in that last drive? Because, I didn't see 33 out there.
Yeah, potentially. I think that it's also just the nature of this defence. You see that they're playing, Rushmoor mostly are playing this one high look, which means that you've got a safety in the middle of the field with a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of access to throws in the seams, but also they've been rotating into this 2 high look to kind of take away some of the passing options, but it looks like something they're not quite as familiar with.
Pass up to the left. Oh, big crushing. You could see that play happening, quite close to us. So Wembley trying to get that ball out.
Yeah, that's critical. If you can get the ball back from the other team on these drives, that's a massive play to make. But you love to see that you've got 3-4 guys rallying around to the side to make those plays. That's a sign of a good defence, when you can get guys swarming to the ball, making the plays. Maybe earlier on in that game, that play goes for a first down and only a couple of guys come down.
Got it again. Just sort of a classic run there. You get 3-4 yards of play, you win.
Look at that number 53, left tackle. He's hobbling a bit. If they're dropping back here, I wonder if maybe they're there. And that's a bit challenging for the quarterback, because then he's got to rush to his right, which is sort of the side that is a bit more awkward.
Seckwaller again, he goes out left. Ball is out, ball is out! And the white out, I reckon he's getting real up close and personal. Point, we're going to see one of these sidelines erupt.
And we saw there that the left tackle, he's the running back's cut back and he's under pressure now because he's blocking that guy. He's done a good job of seeing that guy, but there's nobody there on the end that's able to contain that edge guy.
So that is still a Rushmoor ball. And I tell you what, that
4th and very short by the looks of it.
I tell you what, that man for Rushmoor, I'll try and get a name and a number, because
it looks like number 53, that left tackle again. I mean, we saw him go down and then incredible play from the tackle John Healy there. That's massive. 4th and short now.
And like Healy very well may have saved them the game there.
Yes, legitimately, yes. I mean, to get a time check from the referees at some point, but obviously not long left in the game in this area of the field.
Seckwaller's got it, and Seckwaller's running, and Seckwaller's got a first down and more. And I tell you what, Rushmoor are cooking here. It seemed like there was a bit of trepidation here when that ball came out, but a first down here. And Wembley really are going to have to fight against the clock here.
And you do like to see that as well. I think that a lot of coaches, you're running back, you have a fumble, you're done, Yeah. But they gave him the rock, they trusted him, and he proved them right by moving them over to the other side of the field, which now suddenly their whole drive takes on a very different shape.
And a QB run now.
Yeah, and you've got to say, fantastic job by Wembley all day, just really limiting the rushing ability of the QB Calvin Stitt. You'd say that that's probably one of the strengths of this Rushmoor offense. Anybody that's watched him knows the type of athlete he is and the kinds of plays that he can make. But he just hasn't been able to do a lot of that today. And you see that even when he's rushed out the pocket and tried to make throws, the coverage has been there and they haven't had a lot of success from that either, other than maybe the touchdown that we saw in the end zone. It's a bit more improv. It's really been interesting to see how Wembley's played this all day.
2nd and 10 here. Wembley want to send some pressure, and it's a throw. Oh, and a great catch. Shakes a man off, does 89. 3 Stallions getting him down there, but not after a big gain. And it's a fresh set of downs for the Knights.
And it's the middle of the field once again. It's much easier to throw the ball over the middle of the field, and both teams really seem to be struggling with how to contain that area of the defence. Be really interesting to see if either team can tighten that up, because if they're going to allow 25-yard completions on these kinds of big drives, that could be the game for them.
22-yard line start, thrown out to that screen again, makes a man miss, but two Stallions hitting each other there. Going to be a very good game.
And this has been a really physical game. Both sides have really been playing aggressively, and you can see now some of these players are starting to get banged up a little bit. You're talking about how good is the Wembley depth. We'll see. I think we might get an opportunity to see here. I'm sure somebody's going to have to come in and step up and make a play that maybe they thought at the beginning of the game they might not need to.
So 2nd and 5 in the team numbers. It's a run from 30, and he's going round, makes a man miss. And here we go, going to wait for a signal, and it is a Rushmoor touchdown in the dying minutes. And a game that was looking tied here. I tell you what, we said it earlier, get John Healy, get that man a beverage, because he is safe. There are points on the board.
He really did, and this whole game's just been tackling. It's been tackling. If both sides aren't doing a lot of tackling with their defensive backs this week, I'll be very surprised. That's been the biggest thing that's cost other teams. They managed to get defenders to rally round, could have stopped him before the end zone, but he just got brushed aside like he wasn't even there.
Straight through the uprights, and 7 more on the board for the Knights. Going to be interesting to see how long is left here for the Stallions.
Sorry.
I'm going to try and get a time check for you now.
Have you got a time check, sir?
Six is the man with the boot for Rushmoor. Managed to put it through the uprights there. Been pretty automatic today. I think he's missed a single one today, actually.
Sorry, did you get the time there, sir? No problem.
Just going to try and get a time check for you now. As it winds down here. It might not even be winding down. There might be 5 minutes left, we don't know.
Under 7 minutes.
There you go, under 7 minutes. So there is still a fair bit of time left here for both squads. But again, it is critical for Wembley. Another good kick, making sure it doesn't go out of bounds. 24 for the Stallions has got it.
And I think they're at that point with the amount of time that's left where the game is still really open to all aspects of what you can do as an offense. You know, you're not under that pressure to move the ball down the field quickly. You're not having to worry about the timeouts that you've got to burn at this point. Like, you can really just run the plays that work best, that work best for your team, that work best for the situation and down the distance. You don't have to change your identity yet as an offense.
So here we go, and it's a run from Wembley. And just running over people there. And I tell you what, if you're the Knights, you're going to be very, very, very upset with that huge gain there.
And you see, they're not running anything complicated. They're just running wide zone. All of the offensive line are trying to move along that 45-degree train track and just take on the guys that are in their zone. And they're just able to open some gaping holes with it. And I love the way they finished that run as well. You know, what was it, 3, 4 guys flying into that pile and getting those extra yards. They brought out some energy for this drive. I might even worry they might be scoring too quickly.
And a reverse to 24.
That's a touchdown.
And a first down, and he's going. There's still some Knights to beat, but out of bounds there. Lopez, 24 there with another big play. 2 massive plays there from the Stallions have put them in scoring range. 7 minutes left.
Do you know what? I've been so impressed with this Wembley offense. You see that they've been in that I formation a lot. They've been going to that fullback lead run a few times, and then they picked the perfect moment to handle the reverse. Only a couple of players there. Everybody was caught off guard. This really is a clinic in terms of how to structure an offense and how to call things and keep things balanced.
It's a first and goal from the widest possible margin without penalties, of course. And he's looking, and a sack there from 90 of the Stallions.
Yeah, both sides have generally done a good job with their pass protection. Interesting to see the D-line for Rushmoor step up, come in and get a sack. That's a massive play here now. Backing them up 15 yards. Now it's time for that Rushmoor sort of back seven to really sort of step up, keep that coverage tight. I saw them very tight in coverage on that play. Some might even call it defensive holding. I'm not. But it's a real battle now.
It's 90 there with a big sack. Watson's looking. And 97, it seems as though for me, I don't think 87 was really locked in there, because that ball looked like it was destined for him, and he just wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. That might be one of the first plays I sort of looked at and like, do you know what? I might not actually, not the biggest fan of that. You've brought everybody into that tight space. That's when you want to spread them out. That's where you want to take advantage of the space that they've left you. But they've let's see what they've got for us on third down here instead.
Third and 15 here for the Stallions. And 33's back in the game is Green, and he's running, gets to the outside. Looks like he's going to be getting down to the, I'm going to say the 11-yard line. And the Stallions are going to need something here. There's no call of a field goal unit.
The nice thing about this here, though, is that if you don't get the ball into the end zone, you have got your defense in a good situation. You can still put the pressure on. Obviously, they don't want to be thinking about it that way. They want to be scoring a touchdown. They want to be getting themselves back into this game.
Here we go for Wembley, fourth.
Don't be surprised to watch a receiver from this near side break to the corner out here.
Watts is looking. I tried to get it up to Green, but it was not there. After 2 massive plays from Wembley, they don't manage to convert those into points.
Yeah, I think great job from Rushmoor's defense there. It was both aspects. We saw that the defensive line came up big, getting that sack to kind of move them back. And then if you watch the linebackers that came down to the lines come and jam those receivers, they did a great job not letting them get free releases out and down towards the end zone. So it was much tighter. There was nowhere for the QB really to go. There was a defensive player pretty much next to every receiver out there. And now it's a lot of pressure on this Wembley defense to kind of make a stop, get the ball back, and really make this a game.
So Rushmoor on their own 11. And Seckwaller's got it. He's going up the middle. Going to say a gain of 2. Yeah, gain of 2 there for Seckwaller.
And we've seen the Wembley safeties play split all game, and that was the first time we sort of see one of those rotating down to maybe come and get involved a little bit more in the run after the ball was snapped. I do wonder if maybe they're going to start just pushing the levers a little bit more, trying to be a bit more aggressive where they can to get bodies in the box and try and stop Rushmoor from being able to run out the clock.
There's a Seckwaller one more time.
Yeah, and you're not quite feeling that energy from the Wembley sideline that you had last time they were on defence, are you? It's gone a bit quiet, a little bit tense on that sideline now.
100%. Like, you see that it's difficult when they've had so much success in the second half. Both teams have of actually punching it into the end zone, and that huge sack there from Rushmoor really made it difficult, and it's now put them in a position to maybe run out the clock. And a first down here for Rushmoor. You see the Rushmoor hands get up, they're pointing because they know the more first downs, the more time they can burn, the more likely this is going to be going home with another victory for Rushmoor, taking them to 2-0.
Yeah.
But again, game's not over yet, so you just they want to be speaking it into existence. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
A game that you're burning out can very quickly become, oh, it's tight again now.
Yeah.
You know, be interesting to, you know, not sure how close we are to the 2-minute warning, but you know, first down, we get a few yards.
There we go.
There we go.
Get football clocked, ladies and gentlemen. So 2-minute warning here in Rushmoor, and it's a fresh set of downs from their own 21. Are the Knights?
No, they've called it a 4th down. This is 4th and an inch.
4th and an inch here. Okay. Trying to get Wembley to jump. Sekwala's got a set and a first down for 42. And a timeout for Wembley. Of course, they're going to call a timeout here. But you saw that there was, I believe it was number maybe 75 or 45 for Wembley. Got around the outside, maybe even got a hand on the shoulder pads of Sekwala, but just not enough to stop a man who's been an absolute train all day long.
Yeah, he's so hard to bring down on the first contact, and just to give viewers a little bit of understanding behind like the clock and how this is all going to work out. So they have 2 timeouts left, just a touch under 2 minutes now after that play. So in theory, the Knights can potentially burn 40 seconds off if they're not able to convert a first down. So Wembley should have the ball with just over a minute to go if they're able to stop them here. Obviously that means they've got to stand up to all 3 downs in a row, but if they can get them off the field on this set of downs, they will have enough time in theory to push the ball downfield and try and come back in this game.
So here we go, critical time now for both squads. Looking for a throw out. 89's got it. And a big first down there. He's still going.
And he's in bounds. Yeah, and you can see the quarterback there. He was communicating pre-snap. He was trying to let him know that there was space, and the Wembley defense just seemed to turn off a little bit. They were expecting punt run. They got caught off guard with that quick pass, and I think the game isn't done yet. But
it's certainly a lot trickier now for Wembley than it was only a few moments ago.
I would say it would need something of a miracle to be able to get the ball back. And
yeah, I'm not going to jinx anything, but we have seen one fumble, obviously recovered by Rushmoor. We did see a fumble here and a handoff. Just brought down there.
And I wonder if Wembley actually don't have any more timeouts left, because I'm surprised they haven't called one in either of the last plays. It feels like the game might be done here.
I'll tell you what, we have seen some critical plays from some, you know, some surprising people on Rushmoor, whether it be John Healy or their number 90. Quick pass, out 29, he had one big return. Just sat down. There you go, the timeout called by Wembley. Yep, and that will be their last one.
Interesting use of timeouts there to try and end the game. I think generally you want to burn them as quickly as possible, because if you've got them, you want it to happen now. Whereas it feels like they kind of just sort of died a slow death inside of 2 minutes there.
So here we go. First down, Rushmoor. You know, never like to say that it's in the bag, but it's.
I mean, if you want to see a fight, we might see a score.
Yeah. This game's been great. This game has been fantastic to watch.
And it looks like they are going to kneel it out by the change in formation. It actually looked like they had an illegal motion there from number 3. I'm not sure if he was on the line or off the line. It all looked a bit messy. We seem to be terrible in the UK at taking a knee. We don't seem to know how.
It's very, very strange, isn't it? I remember I was once at a university team that will remain nameless, so I won't tell you which one it was. We took a knee, and not only did the quarterback take a knee, but also the entire line took the knee as well. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Rushmoor improve to 2-0. Wembley 0-1. But I tell you what a fantastic game here. That is going to be ending 35-28 to the Knights. I tell you what, it was tied going in for me. Again, it's very strange to say. Those critical plays by 90, I think it's Timmis 90, making that big sack, pushing Wembley from the 10-yard line, or even slightly more towards the 9-yard line, on the Rushmoor side, in the Rushmoor end zone, making it a 15, making it harder. Wembley don't score. Also, John Healy being able to jump on that fumble, and then Rushmoor going down the field and getting that final score in. Do not get me wrong, number 42 for Rushmoor. Great. Who's the MVP? Oh yeah. Who's the what number? Who? But the MVP of the day.
Number 75. The right
75, Dan Hatcher.
So number 75, Dan Hatcher gets the MVP. But 42, Sequala, absolutely sensational. Just putting the team, I wouldn't say on his back because they're having some great plays, but making sure that those yards, getting hit, but pushing those yardages out. A big man, big, tall man, making sure those yards get there. Number 33 for the Stallions as well, Greenridge. Very much the same thing, making sure that ball gets a few extra yards here. I tell you what, if you're the Stallions, you take away from this, just a little mistakes. It's the first game of the season for them. I think the Stallions are going to be able to improve on this and be a very, very dangerous team for teams in this division. But obviously, Rushmoor 2-0. That's exactly how you want to start your season.
Yeah, I think if you look at Wembley, how do you think this game looks if they didn't put the ball on the carpet twice on the first drive? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's literally just a couple of minor errors, maybe a little bit better tackling here or there on the defensive side, and they're in this game. I thought what their offense did, I really like this offense. I like I thought they did a really good job up front. They've, as we've described throughout the game, they use lots of different looks to be able to give some challenges to the defence. The way that they went back and forth with it, they did have Rushmoor guessing. They really delivered a really strong challenge to Rushmoor today. They didn't quite come out on top, but I think that they'll do very well in a lot of the games they play this year, and I'm really excited. Hopefully we'll get to come maybe watch a rematch, because I think it was a very feisty game as well in the second half. They don't seem like teams that like each other too much, and that always breeds for good football, right?
But ladies and gentlemen, the scoreline here in Rushmoor in week 2 of the BAFA season, 35-28 to the Knights. And I tell you what, that's probably one of the best games I've ever called. And I've called a fair few games, but very, 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 very close. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try and get you some of the other scores around the league before we sign off. Let me just try and find them. Okay. So, Swindon Storm managed to hold out the Monarchs 3-0, a football score. Currently, Mikey Branch tells us Vikings are leading EKP 17-0. The Aztecs take it apparently 34-17. The Darlington Steam beat the Lincolnshire Bombers 30-7. Let's see. So, the Colchester Gladiators beat the Tridents 13-12. Gateshead smashed Donny 57-6. It looks like, let's see what other ones we've got. Scunthorpe Alpha's pulling it close with the Giants. We haven't got a full-time update on that, but 23-27 Scunthorpe's Giants leading with 27 points. Let's see if I can get any other ones. Wish I'd use Valley score. Obviously 63-0. The score, Olympians versus Norwich. Olympians taking it again. Something's happening in Norwich. Let's see, 48-27 for the Inverclyde Goliaths over the Stags. Not sure if that is full-time, seems like a full-time score, but ladies and gentlemen, that seems as though all of the scores that we have. Oh, I might be lying to you. I might be lying.
I guess we're very fortunate we came to this game then, because we
Okay.
got a very close one.
So in the start of the fourth, this was an hour ago, so I imagine this is probably the full-time score, and the Wyverns take away their first victory of the season over South Wales, considering that at the start of the fourth the score was 26-0. I think I'm pretty happy to say that the Wyverns have probably won that game. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute corker of a game here in Rushmoor. Obviously, you know, we don't have many weeks off here in Sport Tank. So I will be in Oxford next week as we return. Last year, obviously, we were at the Saints a fair few times, and we will be back with the Saints as they take on the Portsmouth Dreadnoughts. So, ladies and gentlemen, from Sport Tank, from Tom.
Thank you for being along with us, gents and ladies.
And from Ted, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all next week. Scoreline here in week 2. Rushmoor Knights 35, Wembley Stallions 20.